welcome to Mindful Business, weekly discussions about mindfulness, entrepreneurship, and Web3. This is a live Twitter space. It's about an hour long. It is recorded and uploaded to YouTube to be played back at any time. Little spoiler alert, we're actually considering perhaps moving this to Facebook or Instagram Live. So stay tuned for more information regarding that. This is episode 20. Oh my goodness, episode 20. This episode is dedicated to discussing gift giving 101, tips on how to choose gifts for others, and just kind of general gift giving etiquette since the holiday season is upon us. Well, at least for most of us here in America. We have a plethora of holidays upon us. So I am joined by my lovely co-host, Abby, the creator of Elevate, as usual. How are you doing today, Abby?
At the moment, I'm doing really well. I just got a massage. Speaking of gifts, I just got a really wonderful massage. I will be parked in a moment, so if I'm a little ruggy, hopefully I won't be for long, but I'm doing great. How are you today, my friend?
That sounds fantastic. I haven't gotten a massage in a really long time, and it's something that's been on my to-do list. And at this point, I don't think it's going to happen until 2023. But thank you for the reminder that I need to I need to get on that. I'm doing well too. I have a busy weekend coming up. I'm going to be doing some travel to go see my family for the holidays. And speaking of the holidays, I know we're talking about gift giving today, but I do want to mention obviously gifting is not just for the holidays. You know, not everyone celebrates Christmas, but there are plenty of times of year that we give gifts: birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, baby showers. So, as we have this discussion today, if you're not someone who celebrates the upcoming Christmas or New Year holiday, just know that everything we're going to talk about is applicable to any time of year that you want to give a gift. So, you know, where I want to start tonight, Abby, is the notion. Well, I guess this saying that we've all heard as it relates to gifts, the saying, it's really just the thought that counts. And I want to start there because I feel like we've all heard this, and I have my own opinions and thoughts about that. But what do you think about that saying, Abby? Is it really just the thought that counts?
Well, I think that's one of those things that people throw around, right? We throw it around, we don't really think about what that even means. It is the thought that counts if there's actual thought that goes into it. If the thought occurred to you at the checkout line of Walgreens the day of whatever event you're gifting for, I don't know if that thought counts so much. But thoughtfulness goes a long way. Thoughtfulness does count, but I agree that's become so cliche. And yeah, I think a little more thought than people might think goes a long way, right?
Absolutely, my friend. Yeah, you know, I agree. I feel like that statement is true to some degree. And the fact that someone made the effort and took initiative to give a gift is really honorable and considerate. But let's be real, most of us also want to give gifts that the recipient is going to enjoy and use. And that whole saying, it's the thought that counts. It's like, okay, well, as you said, the thought is about the other person. Of course, it depends on the occasion as well. You know, there are some gifts where you can really, really tie in the person's interests and hobbies. And I don't know, it seems to me that usually those are the gifts that bring people the most joy. Um, I'm curious, you know, like there's so much to talk about as it relates to gift giving. Like, I definitely want to get into it a bit. I'm going to save it for later, but I definitely want to get into like some of the worst gifts we've ever received just because I know that's going to be hilarious. But let's start on a more positive note. And since we're talking about gift giving, let's talk about some of the best gifts that we've received and what made them the best gifts. I guess I guess I'm very blessed to be a person who's received many gifts during my 30-year life. Birthdays, holidays, graduations. I'm very lucky to have people around me who support and encourage me and show me they love me by giving me gifts. In recent years, I've exchanged the most gifts with my husband. Um, and I have to say, the most special gift to me currently is probably my engagement ring, because my husband designed it on his own with some, okay, with some very light guardrails for me. Very light though. Like I wasn't super picky, but I gave him a few ideas. Like these are stones I like, these are shapes I like. Do your thing. And what he ended up giving me was just so beautiful, and I was amazed that he came up with this design with the jeweler on his own. I was like, whoa. And then some of the yoga props that my husband has given me also over the last couple of years, especially this last 6 months as I've gotten into yoga teacher training. I really use all of my yoga stuff regularly as a part of my mindfulness practice. So those types of gifts are really useful, and I can get a lot of wear and tear out of them and use them daily. So I'm curious, Abby. I'm sure you are a lovely individual. I'm sure you've received plenty of gifts from people who love you, your kids, family members, maybe even some of your clients and the people you've taught yoga to. So I'm curious. Tell me about some of your favorite gifts and what made them special.
You are not wrong that I have had some incredibly generous people in my life. I was a massage therapist for 17 years. And so a lot of the people that you pour into really like to show their, gratitude and such this time of year. I've been gifted some amazing things over the years by clients, like including a MacBook Air one year I got as a gift, which I used that thing for 13 years. It was the nicest thing, I think, in terms of like, flashy, nice gifts that a client would ever give. He was a, well-to-do person. I was at his house twice a day, 7 days a week for many years. So it was a really cool gift. My kids have given me meaningful things. The stuff you make when you're a little kid. Your mom still hangs on to it. I still have the sweetest ornaments from my girls and from my son when they were little that mean so much to me. My ex-husband could be really generous and thoughtful at different times. There's some jewelry over the years that I really love. But one of my all-time favorite gifts was when I graduated high school. I had been estranged from my father for a couple of years, and he worked overseas for Caterpillar, but he flew myself and my stepmom to Bangkok, Thailand, and to Singapore. And that trip, and that's my kind of gift. Give me an experience. Give me something like that. That trip changed my life and is the most memorable gift to this day that I've ever received.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that you mentioned give an experience and also I love that you mentioned that you keep all the stuff your kids have made for you. I am 30 and my mom still has stuff that I made in kindergarten and first grade, and she has this whole huge bucket in the basement of me and my siblings arts and crafts that she cannot bear to part with. So so I totally understand that, and that's really sweet. And experience travel, yes, absolutely. And I feel like everyone kind of has their go-tos, and everyone has their kind of when in doubt, this is this is my fallback gift. And for me, some of the things I think of are definitely experiences. Maybe that's like taking someone out to a really nice dinner, or taking a shopping trip with someone. But for me also, in terms of my go-tos, like I love giving people food, things they can eat, whether it's something that I prepare myself or something that I go and get especially for them. I love giving people flowers or plants. I'm a huge earthy nature person, and obviously crystals, duh. Anything from the earth. But honestly, like anyone who's met me in person, like if you've met me in person, I've probably given you a crystal. It's just the way I am. It's not even for any occasion or any reason. Like it's just like my peace offering to people, new people I meet, people I care about, an experience. So just something fun, like I mentioned a dinner, but maybe you like get wild and like go to an amusement park or go to a zoo or go to a museum. These are gifts. And I feel like sometimes we kind of get in this narrow-minded uh, kind of spiral in terms of getting lost on what we should give someone as a gift. And we kind of are immediately thinking of these physical, tangible items, or we have to give someone a gift card or money or whatever. And it's like, get creative with it. So What are your go-tos, Abby? Like when you're in doubt, and say you're scattered and you're not having a lot of time to pick a gift, like what are some of your fallbacks in terms of things that you know are going to bring the other person joy, and not be thoughtless, but are also relatively like low effort for you in terms of curating it?
Similarly, I love to send food, because you don't have to be near someone, right? We have friends all over, so I'd love to send food to someone, whether it's a restaurant nearby or a gift card, or a dessert around the holidays. I happen to love. It feels corporate to some people, but I have to say I love Harry and David. I love a good Royal Riviera pear. I love receiving and giving those kinds of things. And it's, as you said, relatively low effort but big impact. In terms of experiences, one thing that I thought of as you were listing, now there are a lot of escape rooms everywhere, and I know my kids and I love to do those kinds of things. So that's kind of a fun idea for gifting a family or a couple. Things that get them out of the house. And if you're on a budget, you can always, something my kids have done and I've done when I was dating that I think is such a cute, inexpensive idea is to create the good old coupon book of, here are some experiences I will give you. You can cash these in anytime you want. From the kids, it's been like, do the dishes and I'll clean my, different little things like that. For, a partner, it could be, cash this in for a massage one night, or cash this in for, a homemade, your favorite dinner, things like that, as you said, put a little bit of thought and effort to make a big impact. So I think you could do those experiences on any kind of budget. You could do it yourself or really get as big and creative as you want to do it. One other go to for me personally, when you're here local, I love that you said if you know me in person, you probably have a crystal for me. I'm similar. I Whether it's crystal or something, I love to give. And if I see something, I think of someone and I'm with them or know I'm going to see them, I might bring them a thing. And so I really love to support local small business. I was a small business owner here in my community for a long time. And so I really have done a good job, I think, of trying to connect with people locally and to try to shop small and local. Yes, I still do Amazon, and yes, I still shop online. And there are great online small businesses like yours that we could be, frequenting this time of year. But there's a little pottery shop, and she wasn't online. She didn't do any advertising for the longest time. She finally does. But she has a range of cool stuff. And I love to shop her shop for wedding gifts in particular, but all kinds of neat little meaningful things that don't cost a lot of money, but that are, people are going to hang on to for years to come.
I love this. Why do I feel like you're like gift giver extraordinaire on the low, and like you've been hiding it from all of us? That is fantastic. I love that you mentioned being on a budget. I definitely think, given the current state of the world and the economy, like we're heading into a recession, like let's keep it 100. People don't have a lot of spending money, and it's like, that can be a real limiting factor for people curating the gift selection that they want to for their loved ones. So there are definitely still a lot of unique and special gifts that you can give on a budget. And I really love the coupon book idea. That's so cute. I love that. I need that massage coupon right now. I love the idea of sentimental and personalized gifts. And it's like, that's the thing too, is like, hopefully, the person that you're giving a gift to, and what that person would find sentimental or special based on your relationship with them and your experiences with that person. I personally think handmade things are really, really lovely. My my younger cousin made me this. I guess it was like a resin tray, and she put like the Good Juju logo on it, and like she put crystals in it. Heather, who's in this room right now, made me this incredible resin fairy dish. And it was like one of the first gifts I got from one of my Twitter friends, and I cherish it and love it. And I'm sending you lots of love right now, Heather. Go check out Heather's resin artwork. She makes lots of cool stuff, and she's in the listeners right now. So I really love getting handmade stuff. It's really special, and I absolutely love that you mentioned shopping local and small minority-owned businesses. Good Juju is all of the above, by the way. So thank you for that mention. There are definitely some local places here that I love picking stuff up to gift people. Like we have a lot of breweries here, and we have a lot of like I don't even know what you would call it, but where they make, I guess not make, but process coffee beans to make coffee. I don't know what the word for that is, but we have some like local coffee shops that kind of make and sell their own bag beans. And they're delicious and they have all these different flavors and types. And that's something I love to gift. When I was living in the Bay Area, we had Oaktown Spice Shop in Oakland that I absolutely loved. And it was like this little, literally just like spice and herb shop. And they had these gift boxes, and you could just gift someone a nice set of spices for their kitchen. Like, I know we talked about food already, but spices are a fantastic gift. And I mean, unless well, hopefully the person doesn't take it in a way that you're like implying that their food is under seasoned. But I love getting cooking stuff. Like for my wedding, someone gave me a like personalized wooden cutting board. And it's like so adult, and like I was like, whoa, like this is like something you would see in a bistro, and I use it all the time. Like it's so nice, and it's functional, and it's personalized. So yes, I love that you mentioned that, and this also reminds me, like, create a budget for your gift shopping. This is really helpful to avoid overspending, especially on holidays when you might be shopping for several people at once. I am a excited gift shopper. I start early, and if I don't keep track, I will lose track. And next thing I know, I'm $300 deep for one person because I've been stacking up cute little things I thought they would like for the last 4 months. And it's like, girl, no. So over the last few years, I've actually been I should like circulate this. I made this little like holiday shopping spreadsheet, and like I put all the people I'm shopping for and like what gifts I want to get them. And then like I total up what everything costs so I know exactly how much I'm spending on each person. And like some people might feel this is a bit neurotic, but it's helped me a lot. What about you, Abby? Like, do you have any tools that help you kind of stay on budget or like avoid over shopping? Do you have that tendency too?
I have to say, it does not surprise me at all that you have a spreadsheet about this. I would expect nothing less from you, my friend. I love that. I don't have spreadsheets, but I do create lists. And this has definitely been a learning curve over the years. And yes, when the kids were little, it was much harder to like, keep a budget because just like you, I would start early and kind of gather things and then hide things away. And then when the time came to drag it all out, it was like, oh dear. So I've come a long way in that department. My kids are getting older and life is simplified in a lot of ways. So I have far fewer people that I shop for now. But I definitely keep a list, and this year being the exception. Traditionally, I start early. I start really thinking about whether it's staff members. In the past, I would have a staff holiday party and I would put together little goodie bags for staff. And then I would often also, for our clients in person, when we had yoga studio, have one little thing. And it would either be like a handmade ornament or a decal for their car, some really small, little simple thing, a little stone from Dot's Pots, a little crystal. So yeah, because in years past, I would have such a large list. I would really start that list early. I'm not good with spreadsheets, but I have my own little crazy system of of random documents in my phone. Now it's all really in my notes, but of lists, and I usually divide it in, whether it's clients, close family, because often the dates are different where the exchanges are happening. So I have my own system. One of these days, you'll have to teach me spreadsheets because I really suck at them, and I could probably simplify my life. But yes, having in mind a set guideline for yourself is going to help you. I think also just keeping in mind, I think people put pressure on themselves. And I've really learned over the years, I know I don't want anyone to exhaust themselves or to deplete themselves financially or energetically or otherwise to show me they love me, or to give me something. It means so much more to me when I know people are coming from this authentic place of, I thought of you and I wanted to share this little thing. Could be the littlest thing, literally a pair of socks. You know what I mean? The simplest little thing when someone really did slow down to think of you and wanted to show you that love and appreciation. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. I took that pressure off myself long ago, and it makes it so much more relaxed at the holidays. So yes, that was a strange, long-winded answer, but list making, yes, budget making, yes, and take the pressure off yourself so that, you can enjoy the holiday just as much. People will feel more loved when when your stress and anxiety isn't attached to the thing that you're giving them, right?
I'm just like imagining someone like exasperated, like falling apart, like giving someone a gift. It's like, yeah, that's the energy attached to attached to certain gifts. And hey, whatever works for you. There's a method to your madness, and I am honestly just a bit of a spreadsheet freak for everything in my life, and it's I just have too many Virgo placements and Capricorn placements, and that's how God made me. Um, but you know what? Speaking of spreadsheets, here's a little story. When I was about 20 years old, so this is like a decade ago, at one of my first jobs, my boss named Dale showed me a budgeting spreadsheet that I have been using ever since and has formed the foundation of many spreadsheets to come. So I don't know if Dale will ever hear this, but if he does, thank you so much for sharing that gift and that nugget with me because it like stuck in my brain. And I think honestly, that experience, him showing me that awesome budget spreadsheet, is a part of the reason why I'm such a spreadsheet freak. So that aside, so tips in terms of gift giving. One thing I really wanted to mention during this space is give without expecting to receive. I feel like this is hard sometimes, especially like when you're putting in work, like curating some bomb ass gifts. Like, I feel like it's almost hard not to attach expectation in terms of, yeah, yeah, the person I'm curating this for is going to love it so much and they're going to give me something awesome back. But it's important to like shift into a mindset that's a bit more, I guess, not focused on us and more generous and kind of give because you want to show someone you love and appreciate them and not because it will guilt them into having to give something back to you. And something else too is like, I've noticed some people have trouble with like giving gifts that they would want to someone else who might not want them. And this is something that's really important because just because you think something is cool and great doesn't mean everyone does, right? Like for example, like if I love yoga, but if I have a friend who's not into yoga, maybe giving her a yoga mat or yoga blocks is like not an appropriate gift. Maybe that's something I would want, but maybe it's not something she would want. So it's always super, super important to keep the other person in mind. What do you think, Abby?
I think that's 100% true. And I do think people sometimes are guilty of that. Maybe not always consciously. I think sometimes people think, I don't know what to give folks. And so they default to like, well, I like this. They'll like that. I don't want to like generalize, but it seems to be a dude thing. I could be wrong. And that's probably wrong to say, but I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah, part of the thoughtfulness is kind of reading the friend, the person, whomever it is, for some clues along the way. If you haven't paid attention in conversations, almost everyone's on social media. Scan that page for a couple minutes and see what are their interests, what speaks to them, and pulling out some detail that you can tell resonates with them. That's where it's a thoughtful gift. So I think that's really important is do something you think they might like. And if you don't know what that is, spend literally 10 minutes doing a little bit of research or ask a friend of theirs, hey, you know so and so better than I do. Have you heard them mention or do you know what they like? Is there a favorite restaurant? It takes a little bit of homework, but not much. But boy, the impact can be so much bigger. And kind of circling back to the point you made earlier, my first thought was, oh, I never have expectations. But certainly over the years, certainly we put a lot of effort, and there might be that little voice inside of us that hopes that maybe that person, that special person we're pouring into, might love us the way we're loving them. And yes, the sooner we can resolve that that's just not how it works, the less we suffer in the long run. And something I've really learned in the last very recent history, probably couple few years, is I'm going to not wait. for someone to get me that thing I want. I'm gonna, if I want it and I need it, and or I, whatever it is, if I've got my heart set on it, if it's something I was wishing someone would gift me, I go and get it myself. I've heard you talk about buying yourself flowers, and I recently started doing that for myself. And it's so nice. Like, why am I waiting for someone to do it? They ain't gonna. So I'll do it. So gifting yourself should be on your list this time of year as well. I know we're limited in our money and our time, and our whole idea is to be thoughtful to others this time of year. And that's very true. We're all doing a great job of that generally. But I do think a little bit of self-care looks like, as you're, giving this season, do a little bit of that towards yourself, especially if you know that someone might not think to fill your stocking or whatever it might be. Put some shit in your own stocking. There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of a lovely thing. So anyway, I think that's my soapbox on that. What do you gift yourself?
Oh, yes. Yes. I love everything you said. Yes. And buying myself flowers is one of my favorite self-love rituals. And I don't know what it is, but it's done a lot for my psyche. So I'm interested to see over the coming months what benefits you get from it, other than obviously just looking at the beautiful flowers and feeling happy about it. And I love that you mentioned, like, yeah, I'm not going to wait for someone to gift it to me. I think that's so important because when we do, that can kind of create this subconscious like resentment toward whoever it is that we have this kind of internal expectation that they should be giving us something. And the something also too I want to say that's important is, like, in recent years, um, I've just started getting really explicit with people in terms of what I want as a gift. And like, some people might think this is tacky. Some people might think like, oh no, you should just let someone. No, it's just like, if I know it's a thing where we're exchanging, like Christmas, for example, I know I'm going to be exchanging gifts with my husband, and we're both at a point where it's just like, yeah, you'll get a few things on your own, but here's what I want. And we make it clear to each, here's what I want. Here's what I could use. Here's what would be helpful for me. You can pick the color, you can pick the store, you can pick the brand, but here's a general gist of like what I need right now. My husband's a runner. A lot of times he's looking for athletic wear for him to run in, or workout clothes. And he'll give me an idea like, oh, I need some underwear. I need some socks. And it's just like, okay, well, there's tons of different socks and underwear to choose from. And now I have the fun the fun choice of choosing the color and style and fit. So that being said, like, don't be afraid to just like let people know what it is that you want. I mean, obviously it's not appropriate in every circumstance, like, but for example, people do this for their wedding registry and their baby showers. They sit and spend hours and days and weeks making a list of things, thousands and thousands of dollars, for their friends and family to buy for their wedding or baby shower. And to me, it's like, why is a birthday or a holiday any different? I'm about to just tell you what I want. So yes, and yes, gift yourself and don't put yourself last on the list. Obviously, be responsible, and don't neglect others by gifting yourself. But yeah, it's like, it's exhausting. Gift shopping during the holiday season is exhausting, especially if you're trying to get someone something that's super popular. I think my husband went to a few stores today trying to find to gift himself a Nintendo Switch, and clearly that's a very popular item this year. So perhaps he should have gifted that to himself a bit sooner. But that's an example of like, yeah, don't wait for someone else to get it for you, and don't put yourself last on the list, especially if it's something that you feel is not going to be there when you turn around and look for it again. And I love you. I love that you mentioned the gender difference. Like, I do think men and women usually have kind of different gift giving techniques and languages. I think we both have our merits, and we have our points we can improve on. And I guess that's what makes the yin and yang so beautiful, and it all balances each other out. My husband has given me gifts I never would have thought to give myself. One gift was my yoga teacher training. He he gave me the gift of paying for my yoga teacher training, and it's made an incredible impact on my life. And it's been an experience that, like, an incredible gift. Also, cultural aspect, like, different gifts are appropriate in different cultures during different times and situations. So clearly the advice we've been giving over this last 30 minutes is not appropriate to everyone everywhere, but hopefully the general points are applicable across the board. So something I really, really want to talk to you about, Abby, is re-gifting. And I'm sure you already know what re-gifting is, but for those of you who don't, re-gifting is when you receive a gift that you don't necessarily resonate with and you decide to, not open it and give it to someone else. Okay, so I'm going to start. First of all, I'm going to start by saying I am definitely guilty of doing this. I am definitely guilty of doing this. And the reason I want to talk to you, Abby, about it is because I want to survey you. It's like, is this wrong? Is it okay to regift? Like, am I breaking a gift giving principle and rule in the gift giving constitution by regifting? What's your thought on this?
I love this conversation and I am here for it. I don't want you to feel guilty at all because I really think almost everyone absolutely does it. And honestly, I've had people honestly say, this is a regift. Someone gave me this beautiful pashmina. I'm never going to wear it. It was expensive. Rather than send it to Goodwill, I know you would dig it. I'm giving it to you as a gift. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to rock that pashmina like a motherfucker. I love a regift. And if you don't want to, if you don't feel comfortable telling people, you don't have to. If it makes you think of someone and it's just going to go to waste and you're not going to return it, you're not going to whatever, there's no receipt, there's a million different reasons why you end up with this item that just doesn't resonate with you, as you said. I think, oh, you know who would dig this? My friend so and so loves fruitcake or whatever the gift might be, and I think it's in fact being thoughtful to go ahead and pass that gift along to someone else. When the kids were little, there would be massive amounts of stuff on whether it be a holiday, a birthday, and there's a good chunk of stuff they wouldn't even be interested in opening. And so I absolutely had a little tote of stuff that no one's gonna play with that we would keep to generate as a gift for someone else later. I think it's actually being resourceful, being smart. And I don't know if the person didn't give you a gift receipt, and you're not going to use it, what else are you going to do with it? I'm all for it.
Okay, I feel relieved. Yeah, absolutely. And now that you mention it, I have received regifts as well. And maybe in the moment I didn't think of it that way. And as you said, because you see it as a gift for you, and it's like, okay, well, it didn't work for you, but it works for me, and I gladly accept. Um, a regift of sorts that comes to mind is when I first started my crystal store. I was in the Bay Area and I was sourcing a lot of my material from a local metaphysical store called the Stone Room. And it still exists. There are two locations. I think he has one. Maybe they might both be in Berkeley. So the owner has all these crystals. And one day I was there shopping and looking for stuff for my own store, and he would sell them to me wholesale. He was a very nice guy, and he's like, okay, I want to show you something I have that I can't sell in my store, but maybe you'll be able to sell it, And I'm like, okay. And so he takes me to this room and he opens the box. And inside of the box were the phallus crystals. And if you're listening to this space right now and good juju, the phallus crystals. So, okay, so further context, his metaphysical store was near the Berkeley College campus, and he would have a lot of college kids come in, younger people, and he felt like it was inappropriate to have these huge dick crystals, for lack of better words, like in his store, and I think he had maybe tried at one point and someone found them offensive or didn't like that they were out, whatever. Like he just felt weird about having them in his store. So I was just like, I was so for it. I was like, what? Okay. He was like, just take them. He was like, just take them. And if you can sell them, come back and I'll sell you the rest. But like, just take these. And he gave me a bunch of them. And I was like, okay, cool. And he basically regifted those crystal dicks to me. But like, it's incredible because that sparked our Crystals for Sexual Healing collection, which is what our store is known for. We're a 4-year-old crystal store. It's what we sell the most of. It's what people come to us for. And it's just, to me, it's incredible that that regift and something that was useless and that he couldn't do anything with and didn't want has become like pivotal for me and my business. Oh my goodness. Do you have any like really awesome regifts that you've received that have just like been awesome and life changing for you, Abby? Or is this just like a crazy, ridiculous story that I have?
This story is phenomenal, and I love that that's how that transpired. It feels very like, in the never ending story, that she's got that cool like magic bookstore and she's like, come here. I don't know. Anyway, it feels very meant to be. I love moments of kismet. I'm trying to rack my brain. I don't have any cool crystal peen stories in a hidden back room that was gifted to me and like sparked my whole business. That's pretty special. I'll have to think on that one. I don't know of any re-gifting, but it did make me think of, as this conversation came up, things that like, special dishes and glassware that like my mother or my mother-in-law have given me, kitchen things that belong to them or belong to their grandmothers or people in the family. I have way more dishes than I need, and I'm getting to where I need to pare down on some of it. And I'm starting to think about, saving some stuff for my kids, but also my niece just moved in with her long-term boyfriend. They've got a place in Chicago. She's working downtown. And as I'm looking, I don't drink anymore. And I've got all this cocktail stuff and it's all in beautiful shape. And it's been mine for many years. And that's a kind of regift that she would totally, totally dig, right? Those are the kind of, I don't even necessarily think of it as regift, right? But it kind of is. It's that thing that just keeps getting passed around and within a community or a family. Those kinds of things are really cool. My sister-in-law actually has given me many things that came from you know um like antique stores or flea market type things that maybe cost a buck or two, but is this really cool vintage antique thing that probably cost who knows what once upon a time. She does that kind of stuff and I dig it. She'll put it in this really cool, cellophane wrap with a gorgeous bow. And that, whether it was regifted in her basement or from a whatever flea market that she bought too many of, it still makes this huge impact and I love it. So things like that just kind of keep the love going. I don't think of as tacky at all. I think of it as, I don't know, special.
Yes, more power to it. Not tacky, special. And I hope that this conversation is like making people's like creative juices flow in their brains about different type of gifts that we can give, and kind of getting out of the norm and the status quo and getting more creative in terms of what we give people. It's just incredible sometimes. Like there are things that I've given people to me that it was just like, okay, it was like an intuitive thing that I picked out and then I gave it to them, like, oh my God. Then I've seen them years later and they're like, oh my God, that thing, I still have it and I use it. And those are like the moments that make gift giving really special. Just seeing how what you give to someone else can resonate for them like that. So I love that, and I love that you're considering giving all your bar stuff to your niece. That is really sweet and generous, and I'm sure it will be put to good use. And yeah, it's like it's interesting too. It's like as we move through different seasons of our lives, we shed and we outgrow different things, and yeah, as you're making transitions in your life, those are great opportunities to regift. I've done that with even books sometimes. I'll read a book and it'll be really impactful and really great. And then I'll feel bad because I'm like, oh, this book is just like sitting on my shelf. I know I'm not going to read it again. My brain soaked everything out of it. I got the message. It made its impact. And it's like, okay, well, maybe someone else could benefit from this material. And I've shared books with my mom or my friends after reading them and just having them sit around too long and knowing that it's a good read. And it's like, yeah, books are always the gift that keeps giving. Anyone, a book can be read a million gajillion times. And I love that. I'm a big book reader. Okay, so we are kind of coming down to the hour. We're about 5 minutes from the hour. But before we close out our Twitter space, I really, really want to talk about, we talked about best gifts. We talked about gift tips, regifting, making a budget, go to special gifts. But I wanted to kind of save the best for last. And by the best, I mean the worst. Because I want to talk about some of the worst gifts that we've that we've received. And you know what? This is just to be fun and to have a laugh and to be silly. Like, this is not to be catty and bitchy and to be ungrateful and to say that, like, I don't appreciate the gift. But whatever, like, let's be honest, like, we've all received gifts that were just like, wow, like, it's not even a gift, it's like a burden. It's like, what the hell? Like, I need to find space for this in my house now. Like, what are you doing? And like, this has happened to all of us, and for me, I guess in recent years, the things that come to mind, something that I always hate, and I feel like, I feel like I'm setting myself up because I feel like I'm gonna say this, and this is recorded, and it's gonna go on YouTube, and like someone's gonna hear it and like give me this gift to be spiteful. But whatever, I'm gonna put it out there anyway. So I guess a gift I always hate to get is cheap costume jewelry. This is one of my least favorite gifts that I have been given for many occasions in my life over the years. And I guess by cheap costume jewelry, and I'm not saying you need to give me gold and diamonds, or even silver. You don't have to go that far, but like, can I get brass? Like, can I get a stone and like not a rhinestone? Like, come on now. So I have a crystal store. Like, you're gonna give me like glass or a rhinestone? Like, I hate that. So that hurts my heart when I get cheap costume jewelry. And then like just like clothes in a style that I would never, ever, ever, ever wear. And it's just like, have you ever met me? Like, have you ever seen have you ever seen, how I walk around? And when I think of these type of gifts, I think of what I mentioned earlier in terms of like, people giving gifts that they'd want in terms of stuff that they like, oh, well, I'd wear this, or something like, oh, I think Sierra would look cute in this. And it's like, well, do you think I would ever I would ever walk into a store and pick it up though? So I guess that's been tough because then it's just like, I feel like too, when someone gets you a piece of clothing and enough time passes and they see that like you've never worn it, taken a picture in it, come around in it, it's like, oh, well, I guess she didn't like that jacket. So, and I guess it just showed that the person giving the gift didn't know me very well. And while I accepted these gifts, I never turned down the gift. I almost never used them and usually just ended up donating or regifting these items to someone else. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe that sweater that I thought was hideous and gave to a cousin or a friend, maybe they like loved it. Like, maybe it was super appropriate for their wardrobe and just not mine. Like, maybe I just thought it was hideous and it's okay for somebody else. So like, that's the thing too, is like some of the worst gifts I've ever gotten have turned out to be great gifts for other people. So I love that we talked about regifting because even though these gifts suck for me, I usually will like hold on to them for a period of time. And I'm like, if I can't regift it within like 18 months, I'm like, all right, donation center. And that's just what I do with gifts that I think suck. And I would encourage other people to do the same. Don't force yourself to use something that you don't like just because someone gave it to you. You don't have to do that. Put it in a little room somewhere. If you can't find somebody else to give it to, drop it off at the Goodwill. Okay, Abby, what do you think? Tell me about some of the worst gifts that you've received and just what you think about my spiel about some of my worst gifts.
As you're talking, I'm picturing my favorite Christmas movie is A Christmas Story when he comes down in the pink bunny costume that he's like, my great aunt, whatever, has been convinced I've been a 4-year-old girl for the last 10 years. And he's forced to wear the bunny suit because his mom, right? Anyway, that's what I was thinking about as you were talking. And I also want to know, has your cousin worn the sweater? Have you seen her wear the ugly sweater? Maybe it was just time to let it go.
I haven't yet, but I also live in a different state, so I'm holding out hope that maybe it's been worn and my eyes just haven't seen it yet.
Anyway, I was cracking up as you were talking, because yes, you know what, you hit the nail on the head with some things it's like, just don't, just, you know what, just don't even, like, I'm with you. My mom my mom would always give me, kind of stuff that sits in my drawers for a long time, right? I think it's challenging to gift people clothing or things like that can be really challenging, so it's best just to steer clear of that. My girls are at the age where I am no longer allowed to choose anything that they are going to wear. I'll be like, that's cute, and they're like, yeah, look at what you're wearing right now, they'll say. So we definitely have different styles. So yes, at some point you just can't really buy clothing for people. And I don't know, I'm pretty easy. I'm really happy and dig most things. I did get a vacuum cleaner one year, but to be fair, it, like, the day before, or maybe like the hour before people were supposed to come over, as I was cleaning, it did like blow up, and so I needed it. And so, to be funny, it came from Santa Claus under the tree the next day, which was kind of more funny and endearing than like, oh geez, I got this vacuum cleaner. I thought of something and then I had forgotten. Oh, when you go to the, like, everyone bring a $20 gift or whatever, right? Gift exchange. Like, some of those got to be like, everyone's just bringing like the random barbecue and hot sauce kit, and like we would all leave with some form of hot sauce or barbecue sauce. Like, I'm good on that stuff too, but not that I don't love a good barbecue sauce, but you know what I mean? It's like the $5 one at Walgreens on the way out, whatever. I don't know. I feel mean saying it, but anyway.
No, I'm glad you said it because maybe someone will listen to this and not grab the barbecue sauce bundle on the way out of Walgreens because no one needs it. No one needs it. And that's why it's on the way out. Like, all the stuff on the way out of the convenience store is the stuff that nobody needs, but they hope you're going to grab just because you're waiting in line. Goodness gracious. Oh, yes. That is, I have received some interesting like Secret Santa stuff and like the, gift your coworkers or group of friends. But usually, as you said, like sometimes there's like an inside joke twist or a funny twist. It's always nice when you have like an inside joke with a friend or family member and can get gifts related to it that like only you two understand and anyone else would think is like stupid or ridiculous, but like you get it. I love those types of gifts. And I feel like my mom is a gift giver like that. Like, she'll know like little things about me, and then she'll find like the most interesting personalized gift like for that one niche random tiny interest I have. And like, yeah, my mom is a very thoughtful, considerate gift giver, and I appreciate that about her. Um, but that aside, the holiday is coming up. We are less than a week away from the Christmas holiday at this point. I know that this is a busy shopping week. So some of us have finished our shopping and have wrapped all of our gifts and put them under the tree. But many of us are going to be out running around like crazy this week, trying to do some last minute hustling to get the things we need. So I do hope that this, kind of gift giving etiquette space in terms of just different tips, and again, I love that Abby mentioned like clothing is not a great gift idea. I'm going to wrap it back to the beginning where we mentioned some of our when in doubt, like what are our go tos, giving an experience, something fun, like maybe flowers, food. I love that you mentioned Harry and David. Like, I would love if someone sent me a Harry and any food that is like ready for me to make or just cook or put in my mouth. Like, yes, give it to me. So like, don't go crazy trying to like reinvent the wheel. Like, there are plenty of tried and true gifts that you can give that any person would love. So don't feel like you have to like create this super sentimental and personalized gift and hand make something from scratch unless you're that type of person. There is no pressure on you to do that unless that is, feeling like natural and normal for you. So, is there anything you want to add in closing as it relates to gift giving before I kind of wrap it up, Abby?
No, just to end on a positive note that, have fun with it more than thinking about money, think about just having fun with it, what would bring a smile to someone's face, right? And I know people in this room are also good at that. I was gonna throw out earlier and didn't, which is kind of a random note to end on, but guys can be hard to shop for sometimes. And when I was, I don't know, in my early 20s, I dated kind of a like gearhead, and I got like um a tool set that he had wanted, but instead of just like packaging it up, I put it like I arranged it like flowers in a vase. So putting little twists on a thing that might feel boring to give to someone, and just making, putting your signature on it, but making it about them, I think is what it's really all about. And I love this. It's been really fun to get some new ideas and just talk about, how fun it is to give from your heart. And so I love this. It's been a gift to share time with you, as it always is. And I hope you have a really happy holiday. I want to say also, happy Hanukkah to those who are celebrating. Yule is happening, and solstice is Wednesday night. And that's what I celebrate every year with my girls. I just do a real simple, either my son too, but he's too old to probably even be here or care. But we just do a simple, game or book or jammies or cocoa or something like that. So lots of things you can do, simple to elaborate, but do it with your heart, and you can't go wrong, right?
Okay, tools in the vase. Like, I wish I was like your boyfriend back in high school. Like, that's so sweet. That is so adorable. Like, I have never like heard or seen anything like that. And that is like, wow. I don't even know anyone to give tools to, but now I want to do that. That is so amazing. I love that idea. Um, wow. Okay, sorry. Mind blown. Yes, absolutely. I hope everyone who's celebrating, whether it be Hanukkah, whether it be solstice, Yule, I hope that everyone enjoys the time either alone, away from work, to decompress, or with family and loved ones. Quick note, I know that holidays can be triggering and can be tough, so please don't forget to do your self care. Don't be afraid. Like, if things are getting intense, don't be afraid to just step out of the room and go take a deep breath. If you have to go sit in your car and go take a deep breath. This is the season of gift giving. Let's not make it more stressful and difficult than it needs to be. So take care of yourself, take care of those around you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we do not have a space next week. We're taking a break between the Christmas and New Year holiday, and then we will be back the first week of January on January 4th. So, oh, and I mentioned at the beginning, we might be moving to Facebook or Instagram for our weekly live. So, more details to come around that. I think a lot of us are aware that things have been getting a little weird over here on Twitter. So, we might need to make a move. All right, my dear friends, thanks for hanging out, sending lots of love and good juju, and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.